There comes a time in everyone's life when doubt whispers louder than hope, when fear feels heavier than courage, and when the weight of problems seems far stronger than the possibility of solutions. In those moments, what decides your future is not luck, not chance, and not the people around you. It is the power of your own thinking. The way you choose to interpret the world shapes the way the world responds to you. If you walk through life expecting defeat, your mind will filter everything to confirm that expectation. If you step forward with confidence and positivity, opportunities appear where obstacles once stood. Positive thinking is not about denying reality. It is not about pretending life is perfect or that struggles don't exist. It is about training your mind to believe that no matter what happens, you hold the power to rise above it. It is about reprogramming the way you talk to yourself, the way you face challenges, and the way you direct your energy. The truth is, life is a mirror. What you project outward through your thoughts, beliefs, and emotions is what reflects back into your life. Think of two people facing the same difficulty. One loses a job and collapses into despair, telling himself he is worthless, unlucky, and doomed to fail. The other loses a job but says, "This is a chance to build something new, to discover a better path, to prove my strength." The same event, the same loss, yet two entirely different futures. Why? Because one mind was programmed for defeat, and the other mind was programmed for growth. When you feed your mind negative words, when you allow fear and doubt to take root, they multiply. A single thought of failure can become a belief, and a belief can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But when you choose to feed your mind with words of courage, hope, and belief, your subconscious begins to create paths you never saw before. Your actions align with your expectations, and your expectations shape your destiny. You may not realize this, but every day you are programming your mind. Every thought you allow to stay in your head, every sentence you repeat to yourself, every story you tell about who you are and what you deserve, it all becomes part of your mental software. And just like a computer, if you install weak, harmful, or corrupted programs, you will get poor results. But if you upgrade, if you choose powerful, strong, and empowering programs, your system will run with speed, clarity, and purpose. The question then becomes, what programs are you installing in your mind? When you wake up in the morning and say, "Today will be terrible," you are programming failure. When you tell yourself, "I am not good enough," you are writing a code that restricts your own potential. But when you wake up and say, "I will find a way to win today," or "I deserve happiness and success," you are rewriting the script of your life. Science has shown us that the brain is not fixed. It is not a rigid machine stuck in place. It is alive, flexible, and ever-changing. This is called neuroplasticity, the ability of the brain to rewire itself based on your thoughts and experiences. Every positive thought strengthens a new pathway in your brain. Every time you repeat empowering words, you are carving a deeper road for confidence. Every time you replace a negative reaction with a positive response, you are rewiring your mental circuits. Slowly but surely, your brain begins to default to optimism instead of pessimism, to courage instead of fear, to hope instead of despair. Consider this. Some of the most successful people in history were not born into wealth, privilege, or perfect circumstances. They were often born into hardship, poverty, or loss. What separated them from the rest was their refusal to let negative thinking dominate their mind. They trained themselves to see opportunity in adversity. They believed in possibilities when everyone else saw impossibility. They programmed their mind with vision, faith, and determination. And because their thoughts were powerful, their actions became unstoppable. But you don't need to be a billionaire, an athlete, or celebrity to use this power. It is available to every person every single day. It is available to you right now. You can choose to reprogram your mind by deciding what thoughts you allow in, what beliefs you reinforce, and what words you repeat. The first step is awareness. Pay attention to the voice inside your head. When it tells you you can't, ask yourself, why not? When it says you will fail, reply, I will learn. When it whispers, you are not enough, remind yourself, I am growing, I am learning, and I am becoming stronger every day. You cannot always control what happens around you, but you can always control how you interpret it. That is where your true power lies. The mind is like a garden. If you plant weeds of doubt, anger, and fear, they will grow and choke your potential. But if you plant seeds of belief, hope, and determination, those seeds will blossom into success, peace, and happiness. And just like a garden, your mind requires care every day. Positive thinking is not a one-time act. It is a lifestyle, a daily choice, a habit to be built. Every great change starts with a single thought. The thought that says, I can. The thought that says, it's possible. The thought that says, no matter what, I will not give up. That one thought can ignite courage, shape decisions, and transform futures. Positive thinking is not magic, but it feels like magic when you experience its results. It won't remove every challenge, but it will give you the strength to face them. It won't erase every obstacle, but it will open doors you once thought were closed. It won't guarantee success overnight, but it will guarantee that you keep moving forward until success becomes your reality. And so, the journey begins with a decision. The decision to reprogram your mind, to silence the voice of defeat, to nurture the voice of strength, and to walk forward with faith. From this moment on, every thought you choose is a step toward the life you desire. You hold the power. You are the author of your story. And the words you write with your thoughts will decide the ending. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a future version of yourself. This version of you wakes up every morning with energy, with purpose, and with confidence. They face challenges, but instead of shrinking back, they stand taller. They hear doubts from the world, but inside, their mind whispers only one phrase, I can. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is a result of the thoughts you choose to plant today. The mind is like a muscle, and just like the body, it becomes stronger with exercise. Negative thinking is like lifting the wrong weights. It weakens your posture. It damages your foundation. Positive thinking, on the other hand, is the perfect workout for your brain. Every time you replace fear with faith, every time you trade self-doubt for courage, every time you repeat, I am capable, I am worthy, I am prepared, you are building mental strength that no obstacle can destroy. Think of the people who inspire you most. They are not people who never face hardship. They are not people who lived an easy life. They are people who train their minds to rise above hardship. The athlete who keeps running after injuries. The entrepreneur who builds again after losing everything. The parent who works day and night for their children's future. These people are not extraordinary because of luck. They are extraordinary because of mindset. They live proof that positive thinking is not soft. It is not weak. It is the greatest form of power a human can own. But the problem is, we are not born into positive thinking. From the time we are children, voices around us begin to shape the way we see ourselves. Some of us were told we weren't smart enough, strong enough, or good enough. Some of us were told to stop dreaming, to be realistic, to lower our expectations. And slowly, those voices became our own. Without realizing it, we began carrying them inside our heads, playing them over and over again like broken records. The good news is this: you can change a record. You can choose what voice to amplify and what voice to silence. Reprogramming your mind is like tuning a radio. If all you hear is static, negativity, and fear, you won't enjoy the music of life. But if you tune carefully, if you adjust your thoughts, you will discover clarity, inspiration, and strength. And once you lock into that frequency, you will never want to return to the noise of negativity. One of the most powerful tools to reprogram the mind is affirmation. At first, it may feel strange. Standing in front of a mirror and saying, I am strong, I am capable, I am ready for success may feel awkward. But science shows that repeated affirmations rewire the subconscious. At first, your brain resists. It says, that's not true. But if you repeat it daily, if you speak it with emotion and belief, slowly the resistance fades. Your subconscious begins to accept it, and once it accepts it, it becomes reality. Let's imagine 2 mornings. In the first, you wake up and immediately think, I'm tired. Today will be stressful. I don't want to do this. Your shoulders slump, your energy drops, and the whole day follows that script. In the second morning, you wake up and think, I am thankful for this day. I am ready for what's ahead. I will handle every challenge with courage. You sit up straighter, you breathe deeper, and your energy rises. The same person, the same day, but two different outcomes, decided only by thought. That is the power you carry every morning, every hour, every second. You may wonder, but what about reality? What if life is hard? What if challenges are real? And yes, reality can be tough. Bills pile up. Relationships break. Dreams take longer than expected. Positive thinking doesn't erase reality. It equips you to face it. When storms hit, a negative mind collapses, but a positive mind bends, adapts, and grows stronger. Positive thinking is not ignoring the storm. It is learning to dance in the rain until the sun returns. Many of the world's greatest leaders understood this. Abraham Lincoln faced repeated failures in business and politics before becoming president. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Yet every single one of them chose to believe in possibility. They refused to let negative voices define them. They reprogrammed their minds to expect victory even after countless defeats. And in doing so, they changed not just their lives, but the lives of millions. The truth is, your mind is always creating. Every thought is a seed, and every seed produces a harvest. If you want joy, plant seeds of gratitude. If you want confidence, plant seeds of self-belief. If you want success, plant seeds of determination. But remember, a seed takes time to grow. Positive thinking does not deliver instant results. It delivers lasting results. It is a process, a journey, a daily act of discipline. The next time fear grips you, pause. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this thought serving me or is it limiting me? If it is limiting, replace it. Speak words of courage out loud. Train your brain to hear strength, not weakness. Over time, you will notice a shift. The challenges won't disappear, but you will no longer feel crushed by them. Instead, you'll feel like you are climbing, rising, becoming. And here's the most beautiful part. Positivity is contagious. When you reprogram your mind, you don't just transform yourself. You inspire everyone around you. Your energy lifts others. Your courage gives them courage. Your light shines in their darkness. In a world often clouded by negativity, choosing positive thinking makes you a beacon, a leader, a source of hope. So the invitation is clear. Decide today to upgrade the software of your mind. Delete the files of fear, install the programs of faith, and refresh your system with gratitude and courage. Start small. One thought at a time, one word at a time, one choice at a time. And soon, without realizing it, you will wake up one morning and notice the future version of yourself you once imagined is standing in the mirror, stronger, brighter, unstoppable. Every life is shaped by moments. Moments of choice, moments of decision, moments where one thought changes everything. Perhaps you remember a time when you almost gave up, but a single spark of belief pulled you through. Or a time when a small encouragement gave you the strength to try one more time, and that one more try changed the outcome. That is the invisible hand of positive thinking. It guides, it lifts, it whispers, you're not done yet. But here is the truth. Positive thinking is not automatic. It doesn't simply appear one day like a gift from the sky. It is built, trained, and reinforced. Just like a muscle, it needs repetition, discipline, and practice. Too many people think positivity is a feeling. They wait for good things to happen before they feel positive. But in reality, positivity is not the result. It is the cause. You must choose it before the results appear. Think about a farmer. He does not stand in an empty field and wait for crops to grow before planting seeds. He plants first, waters first, nurtures first. Only then does a harvest arrive. Positive thinking works the same way. You do not wait for success to believe in yourself. You believe in yourself first, and that belief creates the foundation for success. Your mind is a storyteller. Every day, it tells you stories about who you are, what you can do, and what your future holds. The problem is, most people let fear write their story. They let failure be the main character. They let doubt write every chapter. But you can take back the pen. You can be the author. You can tell your mind a new story, a story of courage, of growth, of victory. And once you tell that story long enough, your mind begins to believe it. And once it believes, your life begins to reflect it. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a cliff. Below you is a net that you cannot see. If you believe the net exists, you leap. If you believe it doesn't, you stay frozen in fear. Positive thinking is believing the net will appear, even when your eyes cannot yet see it. And when you leap, you discover the net was always there. Your courage simply revealed it. One of the greatest enemies of positive thinking is comparison. In the age of social media, it is easy to believe everyone else is winning while you are falling behind. You scroll through images of people smiling, traveling, succeeding, and deep down, you tell yourself, I'm not enough. I'll never be like them. But remember this. What you see online is not reality. It is a highlight reel. People show victories, not struggles. They show moments of joy, not hours of pain. If you compare your real life to their edited version, you will always feel defeated. The cure is to shift focus. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Focus on your own growth, your own journey, your own progress. Positive thinking means celebrating how far you've come, not resenting how far others seem to be. Another enemy of positive thinking is fear of failure. So many dreams die not because failure happened, but because the fear of failure kept someone from even starting. But failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. Every failure carries a lesson. Every setback carries wisdom. Every fall strengthens the muscles you need to rise higher next time. Positive thinking transforms failure from an ending into a beginning, from a punishment into a teacher, from a wall into a door. Let's take a moment and think of Thomas Edison. When asked about his thousands of failed attempts at creating the light bulb, he famously replied, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That is positive thinking at its finest. He didn't see failure as defeat. He saw it as information, as progress, as one step closer to victory. And because he thought that way, he kept going until he succeeded. But what about you? How can you apply this in your daily life? Start small. The next time something goes wrong, catch your first thought. Do you immediately say, this is the end? Or can you train yourself to say, this is a lesson, this is a step, this is building me? That small change is reprogramming in action. Another way to reprogram your mind is through gratitude. Gratitude is the soil where positivity grows. When you focus on what you lack, your mind fills with scarcity. When you focus on what you already have, your mind fills with abundance. Even in hard times, there is always something to be thankful for. The breath in your lungs, the roof above your head, the lessons you've learned, the people who love you. Gratitude shifts your perspective from what's missing to what's present, and that shift unlocks peace, joy, and resilience. Try this. Every morning, write down 3 things you are grateful for. They don't need to be grand. They can be as simple as sunlight, a kind word, or the chance to try again. Over time, this habit rewires your brain to notice blessings instead of problems, to count gains instead of losses, to focus on light instead of darkness. Gratitude is a lens that makes the world look brighter, even when clouds remain. Positivity also requires the right environment. If you surround yourself with negative people, toxic conversations, and environments filled with doubt, your mind will absorb it like a sponge. But if you surround yourself with uplifting voices, inspiring books, motivational podcasts, and supportive people, your mind will absorb that instead. Choose carefully what you feed your mind. You cannot expect a garden to bloom if you keep watering it with poison. And let's not forget the power of persistence. Positive thinking is not about smiling once and expecting miracles. It is about choosing faith again and again, even when results are slow. It is about holding on when others let go. It is about waking up every day and saying, today, I will believe again. That persistence builds momentum, and momentum builds miracles. So ask yourself, what thoughts am I repeating? What stories am I telling myself? What seeds am I planting in my mind? Because whether you realize it or not, your future is growing inside your present thoughts. If you want a harvest of joy, plant joy. If you want a harvest of courage, plant courage. If you want a harvest of success, plant success. And above all, never forget, you are the gardener. You hold the seeds, and the soil of your mind is ready to grow whatever you choose to plant. Life often feels like a battlefield. Every day, you wake up and step into a world filled with noise, opinions, pressures, and challenges. Some battles are outside, work deadlines, bills, responsibilities, relationships. But the greatest battles are fought inside your own mind. Before you face the world, you face yourself. And in that battle, the strongest weapon you can carry is positive thinking. Every achievement in history began as a thought. Before there was electricity, there was an idea. Before there was flight, there was a belief. Before there was progress, there was vision. Positive thinking is not about ignoring the impossible. It is about daring to believe that the impossible can become possible. It is a quiet courage inside you that says, even if the world doubts me, I will not doubt myself. The mind is like a compass. Wherever it points, your life begins to follow. If your mind points toward fear, you walk toward limitation. If your mind points toward faith, you walk toward possibility. The direction may not change overnight, but every thought you allow in shifts the compass slightly. Over days, weeks, and months, those tiny shifts lead you to an entirely different destination. Think of a ship sailing across the ocean. If the captain changes a direction by just 1 degree, the ship may end up in an entirely different country. The same is true of your thoughts. One small shift from I can't to I can, from this is the end to this is the beginning, can redirect the entire course of your life. But to make that shift, you must become aware of your self-talk. The average person has thousands of thoughts each day, and many of them are automatic, repeating patterns that have been there for years. If you constantly say to yourself, I'm unlucky, I'm not good enough, I always fail, then your mind begins to treat those phrases as truth. Your subconscious does not argue with you. It accepts whatever you repeat most often. That is why reprogramming is so powerful. You get to choose new truths. You get to install new beliefs. You get to decide the language of your own mind. One of the most effective ways to reprogram is through visualization. Close your eyes and picture the life you want in detail. See yourself confident, healthy, successful, surrounded by opportunities. Feel the emotions of that future: joy, strength, peace, freedom. The more vividly you imagine it, the more your subconscious begins to accept it as reality. And once your subconscious believes it, your actions start to align with that vision. You naturally take steps toward the life you pictured. Top athletes use this technique all the time. Before stepping into the arena, they visualize victory. They see themselves making the perfect move, landing the winning shot, crossing the finish line first. By the time they step onto the field, their mind has already lived the success. Their body simply follows a script. You can do the same in your life. Before the interview, visualize confidence. Before the challenge, visualize strength. Before the opportunity, visualize success. Of course, positive thinking does not mean ignoring negative emotions. Pain, sadness, and anger are real. Pretending they don't exist only makes them stronger. Positive thinking means acknowledging them, but refusing to let them control your future. It is the voice that says, yes, I am hurting, but I am healing. Yes, I have fallen, but I will rise. Yes, the night is dark, but morning is coming. It is not denial, it is defiance. Defiance against hopelessness. Defiance against defeat. Defiance against the voice that says you cannot go on. And here is something extraordinary. Your body responds to your thoughts. Studies have shown that people who think positively heal faster, live longer, and handle stress better. When you fill your mind with hope, your body follows with strength. When you fill your mind with despair, your body weakens under the weight of it. Your thoughts are not just invisible, they are physical. They shape your energy, your health, your resilience. Think of someone you admire who radiates positivity. Perhaps it's a leader, a teacher, or even a friend. Notice how their energy affects everyone around them. People want to be near them. They inspire hope, not because their life is perfect, but because their attitude is powerful. That could be you. When you reprogram your mind, you don't just lift yourself, you lift everyone you touch. You become the person others turn to when they need light in the darkness. But you must guard your mind carefully. Just as you wouldn't let anyone pour poison into your drinking water, don't let negativity pour into your thoughts. Be mindful of what you consume, news, conversations, even your own words. Ask yourself, does this build me up or tear me down? If it tears you down, reject it. You are the gatekeeper of your mind. Protect it with the same intensity you would protect your most precious treasure. And remember, progress is not about perfection. There will be days when positivity feels difficult, when your old patterns try to return, when negative voices grow loud. Do not judge yourself for those moments. Simply begin again. Just as a child falls many times before learning to walk, you may stumble on your journey to positive thinking. But every time you rise, you strengthen your mental muscles. Every time you choose belief over doubt, you build resilience. The journey of reprogramming your mind is not about reaching a final destination where nothing ever goes wrong. It is about becoming the kind of person who can face anything and still stand tall. It is about living with a mindset so strong that storms may shake you, but they cannot break you. It is about choosing faith, choosing gratitude, choosing hope again and again until positivity is no longer a choice. It is who you are. So ask yourself now, what future do I want to build? What story do I want my life to tell? What kind of energy do I want to leave behind in the hearts of others? Because it all begins with one decision. The decision to think positively, to reprogram your mind, to believe that no matter what happens, you have the power to rise. This is not just motivation. It is transformation. It is the moment you take the pen back into your hands and write a new story. The story of someone who believed, who persisted, who refused to surrender, and who discovered that the greatest power in the world was already inside them all along. Every person carries within them a secret power, a force that can either create a future filled with light or a future clouded with shadows. That force is your mindset. The way you think about yourself, about others, and about the world is the blueprint of your destiny. Most people never realize this. They believe life happens to them, not through them. But the truth is, life reflects the thoughts you carry most often. When you believe in limitation, you live limited. When you believe in possibility, doors begin to open where there were only walls before. Imagine walking through a forest with two paths. One path is overgrown with weeds, dark and uncertain. The other is bright, clear, and full of life. Which path would you choose? Your thoughts are those paths. Negative thinking creates the dark one, filled with fear, doubt, and hesitation. Positive thinking clears the bright one, where courage, faith, and opportunity wait for you. Each day, each moment, you choose which path to walk. But here's the challenge. The mind is stubborn. It clings to old patterns like a child holding on to a worn-out toy. Maybe you grew up hearing phrases like, "You'll never succeed," or "People like us don't achieve much." Maybe you face failures that etch deep scars of doubt. Those old voices become mental programming, running on repeat, convincing you that your future is limited. To change your life, you must rewrite those scripts. You must become the author, not the victim, of your thoughts. The process begins with awareness. Start listening to your self-talk as if you were listening to another person. If a stranger followed you around all day and whispered the same things your mind says to you, would you tolerate it? Would you allow someone to constantly tell you, "You're not good enough, you'll never make it, you always mess things up"? Of course not. Yet, many people allow their own inner dialogue to do exactly that. The first step to freedom is noticing. Once you notice, you can challenge those thoughts. You can ask, is this really true? Or is this just an old story I've been repeating? And here's the beauty. When you challenge a negative thought, it loses its power. It's like shining a flashlight into a dark room. The fear shrinks the moment you confront it. For every negative thought, you can plant a positive seed. Replace "I can't" with "I'm learning." Replace "I always fail" with "I'm improving every day." Replace "It's impossible" with "Let me try another way." Small replacements, repeated often, create monumental change. One of the most powerful tools for this reprogramming is affirmation. An affirmation is a positive statement, spoken with belief, repeated until it becomes part of your identity. Words shape your world. The phrases you speak, even quietly to yourself, act as commands to your subconscious. Say, "I am strong, I am capable, I am worthy" long enough, and your mind begins to align with that reality. Affirmations are not magic. They are mental training. Just like lifting weights builds muscles, Affirmations build belief. But words alone are not enough. They must be combined with feeling. When you affirm, don't just say the words. Feel them. Imagine what it would be like if they were true right now. Let your body respond. Let your heart beat faster. Let your spirit rise. The stronger the emotion, the deeper the impression on your subconscious. This is how you carve new patterns into your mind. Think of it like carving into stone. Negative thoughts have already etched deep grooves. If you want new patterns, you must repeatedly strike the stone with new affirmations, new images, new beliefs. At first, it feels slow, almost invisible. But with persistence, the new grooves become deeper than the old ones until your mind naturally flows in the direction of positivity. Another key practice is gratitude. Gratitude is not just saying thank you. It is training your mind to focus on abundance rather than lack. Every morning, before you step into the chaos of the day, pause and list 3 things you are grateful for. They don't have to be grand. A breath of fresh air, a smile from someone you love, a chance to try again today. When you focus on gratitude, your brain begins to scan for more reasons to be thankful. Slowly, negativity loses its grip. Gratitude rewires your perspective. It tells your subconscious, I am already blessed and more blessings are on the way. And here is a truth often overlooked. Positive thinking is not about ignoring problems. It is about facing problems with strength. It doesn't mean every storm disappears. It means you learn to sail through storms without sinking. A positive thinker still feels pain, still faces setbacks, but they carry an anchor of faith that keeps them steady. They know, this too shall pass. This obstacle is temporary. I have overcome before and I will overcome again. That mindset is what separates those who break down from those who break through. Think of some of the most inspiring figures in history. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, yet he emerged not with bitterness but with hope, becoming a symbol of peace. Helen Keller, blind and deaf, lived with gratitude and courage, touching millions with her story. Their circumstances were harsh, but their thinking was powerful. They proved that even when life limits the body, the mind can still soar. The question is, how will you use this power? Will you continue allowing old fears and doubts to control your life? Or will you reprogram your mind, step by step, thought by thought, until positivity becomes your default state? You don't have to change overnight. Start with one thought. Start with one affirmation. Start with one moment of gratitude. Each step is small, but combined, they form a path to transformation. So tonight, as you reflect on your day, listen closely to your inner voice. Is it guiding you toward darkness or light, toward fear or faith, toward defeat or victory? Remember, the choice is always yours. Positive thinking is not a gift for the lucky few. It is a decision anyone can make, including you. And the moment you decide, truly decide, to think differently, your world will begin to change in ways you never imagined. There are moments in life when the weight of the world feels almost unbearable. You sit alone, perhaps in silence, and wonder if you're strong enough to face another day, another challenge, another setback. And in those moments, the voice in your mind decides whether you rise or whether you fall. That voice can be your greatest enemy, or it can be your greatest ally. The choice depends on how you train it. Positive thinking is not about painting your life with fake smiles. It is about building an inner strength so solid that even in the darkest nights, you can still see the stars. It is about choosing to look at what can be done instead of what cannot. It is about holding faith in the middle of storms, believing that there is still a way forward, even if you cannot yet see the path. But to build this mindset, you must confront one of the greatest enemies of positivity, fear. Fear whispers that you are not enough. Fear tells you to stay small, to avoid risk, to settle for less than you deserve. Fear is a liar, but it is a convincing liar. It disguises itself as caution, as realism, even as wisdom. And if you listen too closely, you begin to believe its lies. The way to defeat fear is not to wait for it to disappear. It never truly does. The way to defeat fear is to act in spite of it. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is a decision to move forward even while fear walks beside you. And when you choose courage again and again, fear grows weaker. Positive thinking gives you the strength to stand tall against the whispers of fear. It tells you, yes, I am afraid, but I will not be controlled by it. I will step forward anyway. Every time you do this, you create evidence for your mind. You show yourself that you are stronger than you thought. Maybe you apply for the job you thought you'd never get. Maybe you start the business you thought would fail. Maybe you speak up when your voice shakes. Each time, your brain records a victory, and those victories add up. Soon, your identity shifts from someone who doubts to someone who dares. One of the greatest truths about positive thinking is that it expands your vision. Negativity narrows your focus. When you are stuck in negative thoughts, all you see are obstacles, reasons why something will not work. But when you shift to positive thinking, your brain begins to see solutions, opportunities, possibilities. It's like moving from a dimly lit room into bright daylight. Suddenly, things that were invisible become clear. This is not just motivational talk. It is science. Psychologists call it the broaden and build effect. Positive emotions literally broaden your awareness and help you build new skills, new connections, new strategies. In other words, when you choose positivity, you actually become smarter, more creative, more resourceful. That is why successful people guard their mindset so carefully. They know that positivity fuels growth, while negativity blinds it. But let's be honest, it is not always easy to stay positive in a world filled with negativity. News headlines, toxic conversations, past failures, they all try to pull you back into fear and doubt. That is why discipline is essential. Just as athletes train their bodies daily, you must train your mind daily. Read uplifting books. Listen to empowering messages. Surround yourself with people who believe in you. Feed your mind with hope the same way you feed your body with food. If you starve your mind to positivity, negativity will always take over. And here's something important. Positive thinking is contagious. Your energy spreads to others more than you realize. Walk into a room with heavy, negative energy, and everyone feels it. But walk into a room with light, enthusiasm, and confidence, and suddenly people sit up straighter, they smile more, they feel inspired. By reprogramming your own mind, you become a spark for others. You give permission for people around you to believe again, to hope again, to dream again. Think about the leaders, teachers, and friends who impacted you most. Chances are they weren't perfect, but they carried an energy of belief, an unshakable optimism that lifted you when you were down. That is the power you now have the chance to develop. When you master positive thinking, you do not just change your own life. You change the lives of everyone you touch. One practice that helps anchor this mindset is reflection. At the end of each day, take a few minutes to look back. Instead of asking, what went wrong? Ask, what went right? What progress did I make? What did I learn? This simple shift rewires your brain to notice growth instead of failure. Over time, you stop seeing yourself as someone who constantly struggles and start seeing yourself as someone who constantly grows. Another practice is setting powerful intentions each morning. Before your day begins, speak into existence the kind of person you want to be. Say, today I choose peace. Today I choose confidence. Today I choose gratitude. These intentions act like a compass. They guide your mind and behavior throughout the day. Even when challenges appear, your compass points you back toward positivity. And never underestimate the power of faith. Faith is believing in the unseen, trusting that there is more working in your favor than against you. Faith is knowing that setbacks are setups for comebacks. Faith is refusing to quit because you believe that your breakthrough is closer than it feels. Positive thinking without faith is weak. It fades when challenges rise. But positive thinking with faith becomes unstoppable. It is a fire that keeps burning when the night feels endless. So let me ask you now, what would your life look like if fear no longer controlled you? What would you attempt if you truly believed you could not fail? What dreams have you buried under layers of doubt, waiting for the day you feel ready? That day will not arrive on its own. You must choose it. You must declare it. You must begin today. Because here is the truth. Your mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. You cannot plant weeds and expect flowers. You cannot fill your mind with doubt and expect success. If you want a beautiful life, you must plant beautiful thoughts. daily, consistently, relentlessly. And when you do, the garden of your mind will blossom, not just for you, but for everyone who enters your life. This is the power of positive thinking. It is not a trick. It is not wishful fantasy. It is the foundation of transformation. And it begins the moment you decide to take back control of your mind, to reprogram your thoughts, to rise above fear, and to live with faith.